how do I market without being pushy or
Yes.
being salesy? And that's exactly how you do it. You tell authentic, real stories. You say why you're doing what you're doing. You talk about your business in a way that is personal, and then people respond to that.
Hey, it's your host Emily with Poppie Studios. I'm sitting down with fellow creative entrepreneurs as we share our wins, losses, highs, lows, and everything in between that comes from running your own business. So grab a cup of coffee and join the conversation. Welcome to this very special episode of the Launch Your Biz YouTube show. I am continuing our What I Wish I'd Known series with fellow guest interviews. So today I'm joined by branding and marketing consultant Gina Ireland. Hey.
Hey, nice to be here.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. We were just talking before we jumped on about how we've been trying to touch base forever, but launching your own business is a lot of work. So
Totally.
Finally, it stars aligned. We are here. I'm very excited. So you are the owner of Cardinal Blue Consulting.
That's right. I started the company a couple years ago, and it's been a wild ride. I've learned so much about starting my own business, and I also work with clients who are at different stages in their own business growth. So I've seen it all.
Awesome. So we're going to talk today about kind of getting your business off the ground and what that, brief overview of what that entails. But tell us a little bit about how you got your business off the ground.
Sure. Yeah. So I started my career as a strategy professional. So I worked at a number of different corporations and then as a consultant, a strategy consultant, and kind of realized that I wanted to start my own thing, which was totally scary and really overwhelming. But I really had this burning desire to do that in order to offer clients kind of exactly what I saw was missing in the market, and also in order to have a lifestyle that I liked and get up every day and be excited about.
Yes, amen to that.
Yeah. So I started Cardinal Blue Consulting a couple years ago in order to offer marketing and branding, especially for what I call my creator tribe, which is anybody who really has either a product or service that they feel like is in line with their creative passions and in line with their soul journey. So that can be anything from you design custom jewelry to you're offering acupuncture to I've worked with a lot of media and entertainment clients. So, you're writing your screenplays, you're creating mastermind courses, that kind of thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, teaching you how to tell your stories and how to grow your client base.
Love that. I feel like you just talk to everybody. So this is a great audience to be in front of, because I feel like creative means just so many things. So I think that's really cool.
Exactly. And we're all happier, and I feel like healthier in a true wellness sense when we're in line with our creative flow, and we're really excited every day about what we're doing.
Yes, definitely. I think that is something that I've grown my own business that I've come to realize is the whole health wellness is so critical to having a healthy business too.
Mm-hmm. No, that's so right. And I think that a lot of my clients feel when they come to me, they feel stuck in whether that's, their business is their prison, that they're actually more kind of on the business side of things, and they're hearing all this, what I call my MBA wonky marketing speak, and they're not really, having any fun anymore.
Yes.
And they, I hear a lot that their, bodies are really unwell and that their spirit's unwell, and they're really not, feeling, that whole body wellness as you talked about. Yeah. So getting them back in line and being able to, be in the flow is kind of what I do and what I love doing.
Okay. So, let's start off there then. So if somebody comes to you, what would your advice be to somebody who's starting out and maybe feels stuck and run down? What's something that you learned for yourself and that you're helping your clients learn now too, to be healthy and you can run a business and be happy?
Yeah, no, great question. The first thing I break down is figuring out what your story is. So that's your personal story. And that can, there's a number of different journaling exercises we work with and different ways to kind of explore, different ways to tell, how you came from, wherever you came from to starting your business and to offering these products and services. And then from there, connecting that with your product and having kind of that personal journey so that you're invested in every time that you have a client interaction, every time you're interacting with clients, whether it's a product or service. And a lot of times, getting overwhelmed by, you know, the kind of traditional marketing and all that's out there can really kind of stymie that process. But kind of going back to basics and kind of remembering why you're doing this, why you started this, you know, why you get up every morning to do this, and then, you know, infusing that into your marketing works better with clients and customers. People respond to that better. People respond to stories. People love stories. Love to know who you are and why you're doing it. And also you feel better because you're remembering who you are and why you're doing it. So that just, you know, all around seems to work a lot better.
So I think that that's a point, and it made me think of, I hear a lot of people say, well, there's nothing interesting about me. Or they think, I've heard opposite ends of the spectrum, like, well, I didn't start out poor and became rich, and I didn't start out rich and have a following. So I'm just kind of like average middle class. There's nothing extraordinary about me, but that's just not true. So what would you recommend to people?
Exactly. Everybody has a unique story, and, you know, nobody's selling the exact same thing because you are selling a product that has to do with you, you created that product and it has to do with your story. So one thing I tell my clients with some of the journaling exercises we do to get started and to get through that stuck period, because I do have a lot of clients come to me and they're like, I don't know, I don't have a good story. And I'm like, yeah, you do. You just know your story too well. You're too close to the story. So you need to kind of take a step back. So we start off, and I have this one exercise where I have my clients spend some time with their journal and write down 10 most memorable things that they think, you know, about them. So just like, don't overthink it, just like kind of flow and like get those down. And it doesn't matter if you use like none of them. So just get that flow going. And think about a moment where you decided that you had to fight, or you had to participate, or you had to lead. Where was that turning point? Why did you decide to start this business? Why did you not, you know, decide to take, you know, quote, the easy way or a more traditional path? And this is really, you know, your defining moment. So this is like what happened, and then you can figure out who helped you there, what details seem relevant. And then so I have clients kind of write that and not to worry about grammar, not to worry about like structuring that, but really get that all down there. And then the next step would be your structure. And I work with what I call the 5 moves. And this is, I have a media and entertainment background, so this goes back to film school and all that. And
well, I'm excited. Tell me.
So you start off with your exposition. So this is the inciting moment. So this is kind of, you know, that why did you decide to take any action at all? And then we have our rising action. So our complication, you know, what happened to get you off the path that you thought you were on, or why did you make a change, or that kind of thing. And then you have the turning points, your climax, and then your reversal or your falling action. So when you have decided to do something, which is your climax or your turning point, like how you're doing that, and then your moment of release. So how you're making meaning going forward, given that you've made those decisions.
And I think that reminds me of, and I know people are probably like, what? Because I'm a theater background as well. So like that makes sense to me, but I know not everybody does. But it's also similar to like, if you're ever in like English class and they talk about when you're reading books, like that's kind of the same flow that a book follows too. So I love that you have people journal about that and like apply it to yourself. Make your life a movie, basically.
And that's so funny you say that, because that's usually the next thing I tell my clients. It's like, if they're stuck and that sounds too wonky to them, I'm like, okay, think about your favorite book. Think about your favorite movie. And like, tell me the story of that. And they usually tell it in those 5 moves, just like, because even if they're not thinking about that. And so I'm like, yes, that.
You get it. You know what you're doing.
Exactly. So it's like, don't overthink it. Just kind of get things out there, and then you'll start to see something that pops, and maybe you share that. Maybe you take some of the things you wrote in your journal, you share it with a couple people, you see what makes people excited and what people respond to, and then you can start to put that into your marketing.
I love that. I think that's a great idea. And I think journaling just in general is so healthy to get out of your headspace and to also understand yourself better. So I would advise people watching to listen back to the journaling part that you just described and do that for yourselves if you're really struggling with your story. Because I think that's, for me and myself, I really noticed a shift in the types of clients I was getting and my overall satisfaction with running my own business when I really honed in on my About Me page, when I really started being more personal and not just saying what I thought you were supposed to say, and really just opening up and being vulnerable and putting out there like these weird little quirks because people relate to that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, people can sniff out when you're trying to, give them what you think they want, or,
Yes.
an authentic story or an authentic marketing. And they don't respond well to it. And they maybe don't know why they're not responding well to it, but it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
It's just the way that we relate. Think about just like in your, everyday life. Like if you go out to dinner with somebody and they're telling you like this fake story about whatever going on, you're not going to like have a real authentic moment. And marketing is really about trying to get real authentic moments and connections.
Absolutely. And I love that you touched on that. So just for a viewer reference, last week's episode with Ellie was all about copywriting and your About Me page. And she said similar things about people sniff out right away if you're not being honest. So like that's twice in 2 weeks now that people are going to be hearing this message. So
I love this synchronicity. That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm glad that you brought that up because like it just reinforces you.
Totally.
We all know, we all get those vibes. Like when we get that salesman-y vibe, we're like, ugh, never mind. So
yeah.
Your clients feel the same way.
They do. And they're just like, and that's why I get a lot of people that's like, how do I market without being pushy or being salesy? And that's exactly how you do it. You tell authentic, real stories. You say why you're doing what you're doing. You talk about your business in a way that is personal, and then people respond to that.
Absolutely. And I think people don't see past that because you hear a lot of times like, there's this funnel. There's a sales funnel. There's a way to do it. Like it's very salesman-y, and it just doesn't translate well to real life, like one-on-one type businesses. And so when people tell their story, I a lot of times then hear, well, how do I close the sale? And it's like, well, if you're communicating correctly, it will just happen.
Exactly.
There's no need to have a pushy, like, are you ready to book now? Kind of thing.
Totally. And if it doesn't just happen, if it's not, it's probably not the right client for you.
Yeah.
I have definitely, speaking of things to learn in your business, I have spent so much time, especially early, chasing like my non-ideal clients and kind of getting in those time sucks where it's people who weren't, necessarily those high value clients that align with my mission and that were, getting me excited and, even in a profitable way. And, but you kind of feel a lot of us entrepreneurs, right? We're insecure at the beginning and we feel like we got to go after every single lead. And that's
all the dollars, chase the dollars. And that's we both like, we're not shaming you. We totally get it. Been there, but
I've totally been there.
The whole point of this series is like, we've made it to the other side. Here's what we learned. So totally get chasing the dollars and wanting to like stay working for yourself. But I think the whole message you're saying right now is the more authentic you are, the more better payoff you'll have, basically.
Yeah, 100%. And that has to do with, first of all, just what we talked about earlier, that wellness and feeling good about your business and feeling good about what you're doing. And it also has to do with, honestly, we're in this to make money, and it also has to do with profitability. When you have clients that really respond to your message and feel like they're in line with your brand and your message, they're going to want to stick around. They're going to be happy with their outcomes. Whereas if you have somebody who, doesn't align with that, doesn't work within your story or however you want to put it, then you're going to have a lot of friction, and that's not going to work well, and that's not going to be very profitable for business.
Absolutely. You get these clients who just love you as a person, and those are the best cheerleaders you can have. That's the best word of mouth that you can have, is these people who like feel like they really know you and genuinely want other people to experience you. Mm-hmm. That's what you're pushing for.
Totally. And then when that flows, it's, it's so much fun to be doing what we're doing.
Yes, absolutely. So I love how we talk about kind of telling your story. That's a big part of getting your business off the ground. And then I feel like you had also mentioned, did you say networking, or was there something else that you had mentioned?
Yeah. So I have, it's not exactly networking, but I have been tooling around with launching a new group coaching program. I'm just doing one-on-one at this point, or I have a team, so it's not really one-on-one anymore, but what have you. And what I am calling it is the creator marketing method. And it really starts with, figuring out what this story is and going through taking a product and figuring out how to offer that in a more authentic way, and how to expand that offering in the sense that you can have just one product, but you can offer it and you can launch it in many different ways, whether that's
I love that.
exactly. And so
I see a lot of creatives, and it hurts when I see this. They have so many ideas and they only kind of like half pursue all of them. So it sounds like what you're saying is like, pick that one, make it great, and offer it in different ways.
exactly. I call it your sweet spot product. So it's a product that's already working and already, doing pretty well, but you have a lot of ways to expand that and to really dig deep and launch it in, multiple ways. And yeah, like you said, you leave a lot of money on the table when you kind of go from project to projects and not really, doing the execution part. And as a consultant who works with clients, I have seen other people do that. And that is one of my something that I fall back on in my own business a lot. Like I'm always like, I have 100 ideas and I want to be doing them all. And it's hard for me sometimes to keep focus and to be like, no, this product is really working and I need to find all the audiences that want it. So so it's a lot of fun, but
I love that.
Focus.
So okay. So expand on that then, because I think that's common, even if you're not like a product based necessarily, which we all kind of are really like, photographers, we're a product based, we're giving a deliverable, but how do you, I see a lot of, so let me think about photographers, for example. I started out as one, I also do graphic design and education, but I didn't throw all that out into the world right away. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So like, how can you, if somebody's in a similar situation where they've got the photography and they want to do photography for all the people, all the different things, how do you rein them back in and convince me like why I should only do one, or focus on one part of it first and then add things in? Like, why is that so important?
Sure. So this is really the work of what I call niching down. Yeah. It's figuring out exactly who you want to offer it to. And you can decide to do that in, I would say, two main different ways. You can either, so for example, talking about your photographers, you can either decide you want to offer all kinds of different photography, but to a very, very specific audience. So for example, let's say I'm making this up, but you're wanting to only work with new mothers, but you're going to offer everything. So you're going to do everything from, maybe they have, obviously, their infant photography, their family photography, all that, but maybe they also have like a mommy blog. And so you're going to work on that kind of stuff for them. So it's like all different kinds of photography, but only for that main niche. Or you could say, I only offer, this one very niche product. So for example, I work for lots of different people, but what I do is I only do photography that's going to work for your email newsletters or and having it there doesn't mean in the future you can't grow and you can't start to, go to adjacencies and work on other things. But until you really have a toehold and a good email list and a good following and all that and repeat clients, you're just going to be throwing spaghetti against the wall and wasting your time. And you're going to be stuck in your business. Like I said earlier, you're going to feel like all I'm doing is, working on the business. I'm not doing what makes me happy. I'm not doing my art. I'm not doing my creativity. And my answer is niche down, figure out a very, very specific thing you can really push hard on. And that way you have the time and the freedom to really explore. And
that is so truth, because I spent probably 4 years trying to just be a photographer to everybody for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And,
there.
And I think like whatever our industry is, we do that. And I finally took all this, like 100 different people are saying niche down. And I'm like, I don't want to miss any dollars though. Like I got to keep my dollars. Mm-hmm. But I finally was like, I got to do this. I'm weddings only. That's it. Now that was what I advertised, but that doesn't mean that like I wasn't doing family sessions to pay the bills,
Oh, but totally. That does not mean
advertise the wedding. Yes.
Exactly. If that client from wedding is like, next week is my grandma's birthday, can you do that too? Like, you're not going to say no. Like, it just means that the way that your marketing messaging happens and the way that you're interacting with potential new clients and that kind of thing is really around that particular
Yes.
brand. And yeah, like you said, like I'm saying all this stuff and I did the exact same thing. Like I started my company and I was like, I will be consulting to everybody. I will do everything.
All the things.
And yeah. And it was like exhausting, and I learned a lot, and it helped me figure out what my audience is. So sometimes you do have to go through that journey.
Yes.
Figure out how to niche down as soon as possible. You'll be really happy as an entrepreneur.
I totally agree. I think there is kind of that scaled balance of, I think you do have to try a lot of things to really understand. It's very rare that like somebody comes in and is like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm good at it. End of story. I think a lot of us try all the things, find out that we love the one or two, and then that's kind of when you niche down. So if you're watching and you're like, but I love all the things, well, then keep doing all the things if you love them, and it's not, and you're not burnt out. But I think for a lot of us, we get to that burnt out spot because we're taking so many of these jobs that don't necessarily make us happy, but all we're focused on is paying the bills.
Exactly. And at that point, I see a lot of my small business owners, entrepreneurs kind of wanting to throw in the towel, saying, I'm going to shut this business down. I'm going to go back to corporate world. And it's like, no, there's another way.
Yes. Yes. I hear a lot of friends, as a rising tide leader here locally, I hear a lot of people saying, I think I'm going to have to go back to corporate. And I did too. After about probably like 6 or 8 months of launching in full time, I was like, I'm going to have to go back and find a job because it's just not happening for me. But I having survived that and come on the other side of it, it's so worth just knowing your story, really getting clear about your story, and then really getting clear about who you want to serve and what you want to offer. Those two things make such a big difference. I
totally agree. And yeah, if you can push through those moments of panic, insecurity, and I know obviously there's, financial implications and all kinds of things. And I've been there, where it's like, oh my gosh, how am I going to, get through this? And how am I going to keep, having the life I want and doing this?
Yes.
And it can be really hard, and there can be some austerity moments, but once you get to the other side, like you said, it's like, oh, thank God I did that. And throw in the towel, and I am still, working on this.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can get there.
Absolutely. Totally. I totally agree. Well, I feel like we had a couple really, really great solid points that we talked about. Is there anything else kind of as we wrap up that you wish you had known about getting your business off the ground that you'd like to share with everybody?
The first step, I think, is just to launch. I spent so much time being scared of launching and being intimidated and having ideas and, but you don't know, you're not going to know what it's like to be a business owner or an entrepreneur until you get in there.
Yes.
And so just, rip that Band-Aid off and go do it.
And it's so scary, but I think you realize, and it's kind of like sad, but also invigorating, like not that many people are going to notice right away. So if you launch and it's a flop, move on.
Exactly. And we've all been like, my first webinar, it was like nobody showed up, or like
same
was off, or like whatever. I mean, it's like, do that early, like make those mistakes. Everyone does, and just keep going.
Yes, absolutely. Like, to proof right here with two people, like we both did something and nobody died and we're still here. So
exactly.
As long as you're not hurting people or animals, you'll be fine. Awesome. Well, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, so check me out at cardinalblueconsulting.com. And if you sign up for my email list, there's a free treat on there, but there's also going to be a new free treat that I'm talking about with my creator marketing method that I touched on earlier. Yeah. So if you contact me, and there's contact me on that website, I will send you a personal email with the preview to that, which is going to go public.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. Jump on that. Cool. Very cool. And on Instagram, same, Cardinal Blue?
Cardinal Blue Consulting, or at Gina Ireland.
There goes your puppy. We were talking earlier.
She I
was hoping she would make an appearance again. Precious. We were talking, I have my dogs too. So I was hoping her puppies would come through. Very cute. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I really feel like it was such great info, and check her out, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. It was really good to meet you, and I hope to be in touch.
Yeah. Okay. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.